Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Last time, almost like at the end of the class, Bala asked one question, and that question is that how much is important about the experience? You remember that question? I said that experience is so important that it is like it is supposed to change your life. That's a big thing. So we hear the stories, they're all good, but then do we really have experience about the God? We don't have that experience of God. But then we can imagine we do all those things because that we have the ability to do those things, and that is proven by our dream state. Dream, people have neglected it, but dream is such an important thing. You are creating the world in the dream, and then you're interacting with the world there. It's absolutely real for you. But then the reality of the dream world is much less than the reality of this world. That's why we say, oh, it was a dream. Oh, in my dream, I have seen this. And then we forget about it. But last time I gave that example of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. He said that, why did you push me into this world from the real world? That means this is a dream world. You kept me for 3 days in the real world. Now, why did you push me into the dream world? So that means to say the reality of the dream was more imposing than the real world. So if the dream world can be so powerful, the same thing about the world that is there, that we can create in front of with the help of bhava, that world, after all, dream is created by the bhava, your own feeling. So that can be so powerful than this world. And we can also see that small little glimpse of it, almost like that world is a real world. Like I gave the example of Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. He said that he threw the shoe at the actor, saying that it became so real. So that shows that we can create, but it's our world. It's not anybody's world outside. So whatever that we see it. With all the influence of Krishna in the battlefield, for Arjuna, he created a dream world in such a way that Vishwarupa Sandarshana has taken place. Arjuna has seen it, but no other person has seen it. Whoever necessary, that they could see it. So that whoever could live that's what they could see. And that's what is the experience. And that experience transforms a person. Our experience of, and all these art, whatever that connected with the bhakti, are all like that. That's why I gave that example of a child who is playing with the, simple playthings. This boy in the Germany, he said, I will make coffee for Raghu Tata. And I said, come on, we should get ready. I said, don't disturb me now. I'm making the tea for him, coffee for him. After I give him, and then he is doing all those things. But for him, it's a real world. So that real world is more important than the outside world. So we were also like that when we were children. We had a world which was something which is extraordinary. We could create that world. And that world can actually transform us. That's why it is like the way that, like for example, Yamanima Asana Pranayama supposed to take you to Samadhi. But how many will really reach Samadhi? Don't we stop in between? Somebody stops at asana, somebody stops at some little pranayama. And maybe, in fact, some yogis themselves, they say, 10 minutes of meditation. Where is the question of dissolving yourself in the Swarupa Shunyam Samadhi? That's what Patanjali gives us. When Patanjali gave us that idea of Swarupa Shunyam, and after that, Trayamekatra Sanyama, when all these states Patanjali has mentioned, where is the experience of it? We don't go through that experience. We stop at that level. That's fine. If not in this life, life after life after life, that we go. So, like that, in every sadhana, there are always these stages, and then every sadhana, we get stuck up somewhere in between. We don't go far. Not only that, it's also said that people go into that far, like getting into that experience, and they have extraordinary, wonderful experience. As I said, that experience is so imposing. It is much more than the real world. He's right, living in front of me. Experience of manashanti, peaceful state, or the intellect not being there, is something which is so profound at that level. Once you reach that, that's why Patanjali has given all those samadhi states. At some level of samadhi, the time you have crossed, the ego, glimpse of ego, ego has several parts. One ego part is that time, and then another ego part is that identification with these things. And then that drops off. And then suddenly they see that they are different people. And that's what we have seen in the case of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's life also, that his nephew was there with him, Hriday. Hriday was always pestering Ramakrishna. Uncle, you give samadhi experience to everybody. Why don't you give it to me? I'm so close to you. I'm your relation also. I don't give anything. When time comes, that people will have it. Then one day it so happened that suddenly he was going in the night with Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and in the forest, holding a lantern. And while holding the lantern, when he was going, suddenly it appears that he was on the sky, and then forest is down below, and then whole Calcutta was there. And then he looked around, he saw that Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was like a light, like a sun, blazing sun. Looked at himself, he's also like a sun. Wow, that was something which was extraordinary for him. Immediately he said, hey Ramakrishna, we have become gods. See that we have become gods. Let's go to Calcutta and make an announcement that we are gods here. And Ramakrishna immediately said, stop all this nonsense. And when Ramakrishna said, stop all this nonsense, everything suddenly stopped. He was there in the forest with that. At that time, Ramakrishna says to Hriday, if you don't have the pure heart, experience will not make you anything. One small little glimpse of an experience, you forgot to call me as Thakur. So started calling me as Ramakrishna. That means your ego can be so strong, so you cannot have it. So unless until somebody has become to that, to get into that purity, that becomes such a profound experience more than the real world experience outside. That is why Ramakrishna said, why did you push me into this dream world? Well, 4 days you kept me into the real world. That's the real world. So when Meera says or Radha feels, they were there in that real world. And for us also, we get a small glimpse of it. Like and all these fine arts, they take care of your emotions or the bhavana and push you to that level. That's why there's dance, music. These are all the tools for, and all these things are supposed to be the part of puja. That's why puja the Sharuraga iti, people present this dance as puja, the music as puja. You go to the temples, that people who have their art, they present it there. It's not for anybody else's sake, for their sake that they would do it. But all that what happens is that you have to immerse into that. But we don't immerse into that. That's why we don't have that experience of something which is beyond. Not only that you have to sing, but you have to listen to the singing also. It can push you to that state. You are completely elevated. You don't belong to this world. And these are small little experiences that we have. A profound experiences where that your connection with this world becomes absolutely secondary. That means ego is completely secondary. You are in a different world. Then nothing bothers your ego. Anything says. So many people have glimpses of that experience. Immediately they get into that experience and then they feel that they are gods. As a result of it, when they come out of it, now that experience is at the background, but then their behavior is still the same. So they never improve. That's why I see that there are so many saints who say they have done a lot of sadhana. They got Himalayas, they did the sadhana and all that. I don't want to name them, but then whatever it is that they have done it. And they might have got that kind of an experience somewhere here and there. That's why they are able to claim that. But only thing is that one small little experience will they come out of it and become shining by that experience. They had that experience and all that. That's why last time when Bala asked, I said, experience is secondary. Your becoming is more important. See, like when we say that I'm a man, no, we don't say that I'm experiencing I'm a man, but I'm a man. There's no question of being and then experiencing. Experiencing is still outside. Being is something which is much more important. When Upanishad Rishi says, I'm God, Aham Brahmasmi, Anal Haq, when he says, it's not any more experience. It is the being God himself. So you can't change that. And that is what is the transformation we need to get. So bhakti will give you that transformation. Like the way that in Raja Yoga that I said in Jnana Yoga also. Jnana Yoga also says that freedom is yours. Your consciousness is free. Mukti, moksha is not coming from outside. You are moksha. Moksha is your own nature. That, that's what Yoga Vasishtha says very beautifully, that even the desire for getting the experience of moksha, you have to give it up. Moksharthitvam api tyaja. You mean to say that then I have to... No, it is no more an experience, it is you are. You are that. If Socrates said that, he had that experience. It's not that he was living that. So it should be a living state. That's what Jnana Yoga says. It's not any more experience, it is living state. Advaita, if, just imagine that if Advaita is supposed to be an experience, or it's a living state, where is the question of fighting with anybody else? There's no reason to fight. Because my experience is Advaita. That's why Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, for him that everything is Brahman. So therefore there is no fight at all. So if somebody argues something about Dvaita, God is not there and this and that, Girish, he was arguing. And Ramakrishna gives him a hug and says, wow, but for God, nobody would have created an intelligence like you are. There's no question of fight at all. All fight drops off the moment that it becomes your own being. It's like my left hand fighting with the right hand. Where is the question of fight? So that has to happen ultimately then beyond that experience. This is what is the advantage of Pujadishu Anuragayati. The second thing is Kathadishu Anuragayati Gargaha. The story is essentially that all these things what we have seen in puja, it all happens because of your bhavana. And that bhavana is provoked by the stories. All other things are secondary. That bhavana is something which is primary. But unfortunately, what happens, a lot of people, when they go into so many details of the other things, unimportant things, and you have to search for where is the bhavana. Especially these days, when you look at all this TV serial that comes, my God, gods are also in trouble there. They are fighting, and then somebody is behind him. Particularly poor fellow, that Indra is always struggling. Fighting. Arey, we are a culture where there is no fight at all. And we created all the gods and the TV serials where you fight Vritrasura, fight with this and this fight. Where is the question of the bhavana that is there? We don't develop that kind of a thing. So this is unfortunately what the people who are not sadhakas, when they try to present these stories, it is like that. It can be any story from anywhere. That's why I'm saying that when I look at the story with a bhavana, when you look at the story of Jesus Christ, don't even worry about it is Jesus Christ, a Christian or anything like that. But the bhavana, the feeling is something which is very important. It's so beautiful, and the story is something like, I don't know last time I told or not, but then he was extraordinary person, because from the heart he would say, love everybody, love their neighbor. And said, if somebody hits you on one cheek, show the other cheek. That's compassion. So these are the things which he was saying spontaneously. So, but then because that he was saying spontaneously, he was becoming more popular than the church by the Roman Empire. So the Roman Empire thought that this fellow is stealing away our popularity, so we should put him to death, or we should punish him. So they created a scene where the adulteress was there, and then everybody is ready to stone her. And Jesus Christ came there. And when Jesus came, they said, would you like to now stone her? Or would you spare her, because pardon her? If you say spare her, that means you are going against rule. If you say stone, then where is the question of your the love, etc., etc.? So they wanted to trap him. Either way that he can be done. Jesus didn't know all these things. So he just very casually said, okay, stone her, but stone be thrown by somebody who has never done adultery in his lifetime. In fact, this lady is prostitute because of these men only in that village. So the moment that he said that stone is thrown by somebody who never created adultery, they all just dropped the stones and quietly and that lady at that time, she falls at the feet of Jesus Christ and says that, why did you pardon me? Because the idea is that if people punish, then I don't go to hell. But here by pardoning, that means to say, I will be going to hell. Jesus said, who am I to pardon? There is Lord who pardons you, whatever it is. Wow, that was a wonderful statement. And then she became a disciple of Jesus Christ. So this he could not be trapped. But then this, because he could not be trapped, then further they were thinking that they have to trap him. This in the royal family, that when that was going on in Roman Empire, this Magdalene, she had an Magdalena, she had an entry into that palace. She was from Magdalene, which is a place not very far from Jerusalem. But she used to go to the Roman palace, and then she was close with them. So she came back to Jesus Christ and said that now they are planning to trap you and then kill you. Then he said, what to do? Then Jesus very clearly said, whatever it is, the message has to go on, because I am not important. The message is important. That's why Jesus Christ in that Last Supper, he said that my blood is your blood, my flesh is your flesh. So that means to say, my knowledge is your knowledge. You pass on that knowledge. Disciples, he said. After that, in 1 week, that he was strapped, and then he was being put on the cross. And 3 people were there on the cross, and it is by Pilate who has really put him on the cross. He gave the judgment, and then Jesus was going there carrying the cross and all that, so hard. All the disciples were watching him, and they had a belief that he is Son of God. So naturally, they cannot do anything. He's not really suffering. He's only showing suffering. And the humanness they lost. The idea that he is a God. No, he's not suffering. He's showing the people that, you put somebody cross, then naturally blood is coming out. He's crying. Couple of times he falls down, and then he gets up, and then again, because they hunted him, so therefore that he climbed. Then finally, when he went up, and then they put him on the cross, by that time, that this what is happening, Magdalene knew about it. And she came running. By the time she came running, already they were on the cross. When they are on the cross, actually what happens is that below the feet, they will have the bricks, wooden bricks, 2-3 bricks will be there, support the body, and they put the cross on the top. After putting them on top, they remove the bricks so that the body sags and then they die. This is the principle that is there. Because it rained, the other 2 people that they removed the bricks, but then the description that says that his bricks were not removed. Before that, rain came, so everybody ran away. And then even the disciples, they said, no, he is only imitating, but he is not really suffering. He was not even a human being. They did not even have a feeling that is. That time Magdalene came and then saw the Jesus Christ. She was not dead. She
Yes.
not dead because that bricks were not removed. 6 hours, and then he was there. Brought him down. Now she released him, and all that. In her lap, she kept him. Now these people are still watching that now miracle will happen, miracle will happen. And she nursed Jesus Christ, all wounds, this and that, everything. There are two types of stories anyway. One story is that now the miracle happened. What is the miracle that happened? Jesus died as an ordinary human being. As ordinary human, uncontrollable. And for particularly Magdalene. And then next day, actually, that is the story connection. Next day, Jesus walked in. And these disciples, they were thinking, Arey, Jesus yesterday died. Why is that he's walking? He is a ghost. He may not be reality, like that. They still have a feeling that Jesus is something not real, unreal and all that. But when walked in, it is Magdalene who immediately felt that, wow, Jesus came. She took him into her lap, put him there, and then received him. So for her, Jesus is not dead. And later on, that's the story says that then he was asked to go away because that people don't know that he is alive. So all that happened. So there were some stories like. So what happens is that at the moment that you take Jesus Christ as God, you miss this beautiful human feeling. That human feeling is much more important. Bhava is about the human feeling. Even if you bring the God to the human level, but basically to see that you see God in the human being. For that only that we bring. See, Ganesha we bring home. And Ganesha is something which is living. And in order to give that, these stories are there. The stories are to show that they are human beings. They're human. That's what is very important. God is there in every human being. Not only that, Brahman alone is there. We know that. Intellectually, we know that. But experientially, we know that. That's what these stories are all about. Now, all the other details, the stories are there, Ramayana is there, Mahabharata is there. But there are so many details which may not be there in the original Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana or Mahabharata. But then what happens is that many other texts have come up. Many ideas have come up to show that these stories, basically to enhance the feeling aspect of it, the bhavana aspect of it. That's what you see in the Rama story, or the same thing that you see in Krishna's story. The moment that you take Rama to be God, then you miss these things. Don't take him God. Because even Valmiki, Ramayana, when you go to the first chapter, in the beginning itself, Valmiki says to Vyasa, Narada comes to Valmiki and says, you go all over the world and all over the various lokas and tell me about all the gods and goddesses. I'm sick of it. Tell me something about human being. Konvasmin samprate loke tasya gunavan kirtivan dharmajnasya kritagnyasya. Tell me something about that. Then he gives the story of Rama. So Rama is given as an ordinary human being, not as God. The moment you put him on the God pedestal, one thing we think is that yes, you put the light there so that you can do whatever you would like. And second thing, he will not come down. So that is the idea. You don't have to change yourself. That's the reason why treat them as like simple, ordinary human being. Then you learn a lot. Learn a lot because that the story gives the extraordinary, wonderful degree of love that Rama lives. And that's what is it. You can have several stories in Ramayana which can be enhanced like that. Like, for example, one of the very important aspects of Ramayana story is Bharata. And you just imagine the story so extraordinary that the whole thing is as if it is scripted. Bharata is not there, Rama is to be coronated. And Kaikeyi remembers that and then says that Bharata has to be given the kingdom as the two queens. But that alone is not sufficient. There's another thing that Dasharatha promised that Kaikeyi Raja that yes, your grandson will be the kingdom. But then when did he say? He said when there were, in fact, the very fact that he was marrying Kaikeyi is because that he would like to have a child. Suddenly he never thought that there will be children for everybody else. See, it suddenly happened like that. So how things are organized like a scripted way. So, but then you promised. Dasharatha says, all that promise and all those things are contextual. Don't take it. No, I want Bharata to be king and Rama to go to the forest. And added to that, Raghuvamsha is something which is adhered to words. Prana jai, parvachan na jai, all these things are there. And today everybody quotes about that. They follow it and people quote it. So therefore that, and such a beautiful incident in Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana itself. It was announced that Rama will go to the forest. Rama will be coronated next day. So he went to his palace, getting ready, getting all these instructions and all that. Suddenly the message comes, Rama is summoned. Rama goes there, and then as he enters into the palace, he sees that the whole place is completely decorated with all the objects which are supposed to be after coronation. They use that, various objects. When Rama looks at all those things, he was feeling very happy, very divine. Also responsibility because it's a kingdom. All that was there, and then he went to father's place, and then all the things that happened. And there also Kaikeyi says, Rama, you sit down. Dad wants to say something, but then he's not in a good health. He can't say, therefore, I will tell him. I will tell you. But it's a very serious matter. Why don't you sit down? Have a cup of water. Rama says, what is that? Then Kaikeyi says that you are supposed to go to the forest for 14 years. Bharata will take care of the kingdom. The way that Valmiki writes, Rama did not even have one line on the eyebrow. He said, Mother, yes, it's okay. But you said something serious. It's not a serious matter. Is it not a serious matter? How beautifully Rama replies to that, saying that it was the dad who said that I have to be king. It's the dad who said that I will go to the forest. Both these things dad only said. So if I accept that one, I should accept this one also. There is a question of any rejection for that. But this argument, we can't even think of it. See, these are the things which will give us and then the beautiful thing of it, when he came out of it, when he was going back to his mother's place, etc., he saw the same objects that were there for coronation. And when he saw that object, he did a sashtang in front of it, because these are being decorated on Bharata, and I am only a citizen. Bharata is the king. So these are for the king now. What was moment back was his, now it is Bharata. So he bows into it. Look at character of Rama. There's such an extraordinary, wonderful feeling. All that happened, then he went to the forest, and Bharata came back, and then after all these rites that were there for Dasharatha, then once everything is done, then Bharata came out, and then he was going. Suddenly he saw that all these people were there in the court. He said, this Vasishtha, etc., etc., Sumita and all that. So he said, what are they doing? He said, we are discussing about what is the next date for coronation. He said, for what? For what? He said, for your coronation. Why me coronation? The king is there. I said, no, king is dead. No, king is there, not there. Obviously, Rama is the king. So anyway, that's not an issue. You talk whatever you would like to talk, but I'm going to go to the forest to bring Rama. Suddenly they realize they have never thought about it. And we should request Rama. So you want to go to the forest to request Rama to come back? Bharata said, yes. As simple as that. If Rama doesn't come, I'll also stay with him. My God. So look at all these characters, where they are. If we can just adapt about 10% of that, then love. And then when Bharata says like that, then immediately Vasishtha says, I will also go with you. Mother says, we will also go with you. Kaikeyi said that I have to go because I have to ask Rama to pardon me and all that. Sumanta says, okay, I'll take you all. Everybody goes to Rama's place. When they go to Rama, and of course, the drama is there usually, that Lakshmana said, oh, they come to invade us. Hey, don't say all those things. Wait and see what will happen. Don't be in a hurry. And then they go. And when they go, then they come to request Rama to come back. And then Rama reprimands Lakshmana, saying that, look, what one wrong step. You thought that they are coming for you. What happened, Bharata? Lakshmana wanted, you should have done that. I don't deserve to live because my mother. But anyway, and that time they assembled. And when they assembled, they said that Vasishtha was there. They presented the point saying that Rama says that he has given a word to his father, so that he wants to follow father's word. So therefore, he will go to the forest. So Bharata says Rama should come back. The argument takes place. A beautiful argument. Actually, it goes to 3-4 pages in Ramayana. And after that, nothing comes out. They said, then they turned towards Vasishtha. Vasishtha says a very beautiful dialogue. He said that on one side, it is Rama's Dharmanishta. On the other side, it is Bharata's love. I don't know, both of them seem to be right. I really don't know which side I have to give the decision. See, honesty. I don't know which side I have to be giving the decision, because any decision becomes one-sided. I really don't know. Only God will have to solve this issue. When they announced that way, suddenly the sentry, the security fellow, comes and announces that Janaka is coming. In Ramayana, it's a different story, but Janaka is coming. That is a very beautiful addition. Oh, Janaka can have a solution because he is both also Brahmagyani and is also a king. Therefore, he will have a solution. Then Janaka comes. Let's pose this problem to Janaka. They say that, okay, they pose the problem to Janaka. Janaka said, I don't have a solution. Tomorrow, I will present it in my meditation to Devadeva, that's Shiva. And whatever the solution comes, I'll give it. Fine. Everybody resolved to their tents. The tents, Sulakshana Devi asked Janaka, so whose side are you giving tomorrow? Janaka says, I don't know. It's a Devadeva has to give. That means on one side is his daughter, and the other side is kingdom and all that. But he's also so true. The next morning they get together. And at that time, Sulakshana says very beautiful. She says that, you see, the dialogues they created are so beautiful. She said, you men are always like this. Idea is that you are so intellectual. You do whatever you want to do it, but don't put the wonderful woman into suffering. What she meant was not Sita. What she meant was Kausalya. Kausalya should not suffer. Wow, look at the intricacies. All right. Next day they assemble, and then everybody is eagerly waiting. What is that answer coming from? So he says, Janaka says, I presented to the God, and he says, Rama, your adherence to dharma is something which is unparalleled. And not only that, you will be held as the icon for the future generations to come. And you are extraordinary. You are extraordinary. Nobody can hold on to Dharma the way that you have held on to. You are great. Everybody felt sad because Rama is winning, Rama is going to the forest. But then turns to Bharata. This is Bharata, your love for your brother is exemplary. There is a chance for you to take the kingdom. There is but you wanted to give that kingdom to your brother. So it's exemplary. And the next sentence he says is what? He said, there is no dharma in front of love. Bhakti is the supreme dharma. There is no dharma in front of bhakti. Therefore, you want it. Wow, everybody is delighted. But then he says that there's one condition. What is that? In love, you give, you don't ask. You don't ask Rama to whatever it is. You give to Rama. Immediately Bharata says, I give the kingdom to Rama. I said, hey, wait a minute. What? Don't give it to Rama what doesn't belong to you. Kingdom doesn't even belong to you. Why do you give it to him? And ask Rama what he wants. Give that. Bharata immediately with tears in eyes says, I was blinded by my ego, my love. And Rama, you opened my eyes. Goes to Rama and says that, tell me what do you want? What can I give you? Rama knows the heart of Bharata now. You know, everybody wants to be better than the other person. Rama says, give me the kingdom. Wow. He himself asks, give me the kingdom. And then says, but, you know, in love, we become ananyata. That means there is no difference. So the kingdom belongs to both of us. And the word that we are given to the Father also belongs to both of us. So on my behalf, you be the kingdom. On your behalf, I'll go to the forest. What a solution. If you are adhering to this love so supremely, you can find a solution. It's not for the sake of ego. Beyond that, these are the incidents which really Ramayana represents that. Such a beautiful incident. Similarly, there's one more incident that happened in, you see, this incident itself is started. Similarly, like that, there are other incidents that are there in Ramayana, and the same way the incidents are there in Mahabharata. They are also extraordinary. In Krishna's life, also extraordinary. That's what the later sutra says. Katatishiti gargaha atmarati avirodhena shandilyaha and asyevamevam yatha Nardastu tadarpita kilacharata tadvismarne pranama vyapayateti astyevamevam yatha vraja gopika. This is the idea. So Vraja Gopikas that he brings about in one of the sutras here. And that story is something which is extraordinary. In fact, as last time also I was saying that Radha is never a figure in the Mahabharata or in the Bhagavatam. There is never a mention of Radha is there. Of course, Bharata will not give, but Bhagavatam also does not have mention of Radha. But later on what happened is that Gita Govindam and all that, they created this Radha's idea. It came up very well. But then when you look into the Bhagavatam, only one para where says that there were the cowherd girls who were there, very close to Krishna. And that's what is the rasa that created. Not big idea. But then usually what happens is in the stories, when they're covering a so huge story, these incidents become very small little matter for them. But then later on people created all those things. That's wonderful. So like that, there are several people who are given, but of all those people who have written, The most extraordinary, wonderful piece of information you get is from K. Munshi. And he has written the Krishna Avatara. One of the greatest things that Krishna Avatara K. Munshi has done is that he never took the Krishna's image as God. Like an ordinary, simple human being, extraordinary qualities that are there, extraordinary dedication that is there, and that's the kind of a person that he created. Very pleasant and very beautiful story that was there. And from that, there are several ideas that are there. Rajagopika gives a feeling of that idea. So let me tell you that story of Radha, which is so extraordinary. Actually, as I said, that Radha's name is not there. How did the Radha's name came? That we will also in the process that when we talk the story about it. But according to K. Munshi, the story goes this way, that Krishna was there in Gokul, and then Radha was there in Vrindavan, and then Vrindavan people went on a pilgrimage. And they went on a pilgrimage that they were returning. And when they were returning, always when the group of people come returning, there is a head of that group who has seen several times and then who knows about the story. He's like a guide. So he'll be giving the description of the places that were there and then telling that what is the next place and what are the important places to visit there, important temple, gods, and if there is any Sthala Purana, we'll talk about it. This is how this culture was. So like that, the whole group was coming to, it was evening, sunset, sun setting time. At the time they came to that place and said, the guide said, now we are entering into Gokul. The moment he said we are entering into Gokul, some of the people in the audience, in the group, they said, wow, Gokul, as if they already heard about it. And the others immediately start, what about the Gokul? Have you not heard some extraordinary, wonderful stories about Gokul? What is the extraordinary, wonderful stories? So this conversation is built up between people who knew and then people who don't know about that. Oh, there is a wonder boy here. And who is that wonder boy? Oh, he has created so many wonderful things. He did this, he did that, he did that. Wow. See, more and more that incident that were coming out unearthed, and the people are in curiosity is also increasing. And when it comes to what's his name is Krishna. Is it? Can we see him? Or what? You can't see him. So can we see him? You can't miss him. He's always there. Where to find out? Is it go to the village center? And he's always there. But then village center, so many people, so many will be there, but always he is the center. Everybody is around him. And ever since Krishna was born here, only celebration. They'll be dancing, they'll be celebrating, and then we will never miss him. How can we recognize him? Yellow robes and nice, wonderful, peacock, feather. Wow, this is something. The very description itself makes people wow, like that. So all these things happen suddenly when they're talking like this, everything is going on, the conversation is going on, and suddenly as they move closer to the village, they're still in the forest. Suddenly somebody said, hey, look at that boy who's sitting there. You see Krishna? Then they looked at, and then it's the forest, and then somebody is sitting all alone on the stone. No, it can't be Krishna, because he's not with the people, with the crowd. No, he is Krishna only. How do you say he's Krishna? Look at him, that he has the same, the peacock feather, and then he has the yellow robes and all that. So he is Krishna. No, he's not Krishna, because Krishna is jumping with joy, and then there is so much of celebration, and then here it is not there. No, he must be Krishna only. By the time they came a little closer, they said, oh, they must be Krishna only. And then somebody, and this elderly people, they go near Krishna, recognize that it is Krishna who is there, and said, hey Krishna, what are you doing here? And then Krishna very arrogantly replies them with anger, I'm enjoying the nature. No, clearly, he's not enjoying the nature. Oh, are you angry? No, I'm not angry. Who said I'm angry? My God. Particularly when you have children angry, you can't even talk to them. Hey, something happened. Nothing happened. Leave me alone. They don't have any more question to ask also, because this fellow is so arrogant. said, I think, it's a bad luck for us. Otherwise, we would have seen Krishna dancing and jumping and all that. Today, must be something really happened. Children, you can never predict what mood they'll be. So Krishna is like that. So they all went ahead. And they went ahead. There was about 7, 8-year-old boy. And then this young girl was there, 11, 12 years. She stopped behind. And then she came to him and said that, Krishna, my name is Radha. Nice to meet you. You know that you're angry. But you know what? I think that you have something really upset you today. And I'm a good friend of yours. And if you share with me whatever that happened to you, maybe that gives you some relief. You can talk to me. Believe in me. You can talk to me. When somebody talks to them with loving care like that, Radha, immediately, children burst out into tears. And Krishna immediately burst out into tears, started telling Radha, I've not done anything. This is how children talk, I've not done anything wrong. Particularly today, I did not do anything wrong. That means other days anyway I do it. Krishna is also, what happened? That fellow came and he said, he's hungry. And he said, Krishna, give me something. I'm hungry. How can I leave him? He says he's hungry. I have to give him something. And I don't have anything. Now, what have to do? I know that my mother did not keep anything in reach for me. I know that next door neighbor lady, she has just done butter, then she kept there. So I took this boy there. Along with that, a couple of other boys also came, but they are also hungry. Children, if they are hungry, okay, leave them alone. Yeah, you are right. And then they can't reach that. So I created a staging. Stand one after the one or the other. And then finally, I went to the top of this thing and then I picked up the pot and brought it down. Everybody ate. They ate. I did not eat. You did not eat? No, I did not eat. Actually, they put little in my mouth, that's all. Children cannot hide it. But then, my mother, she is one who just shouts at me. She has cast her shoulder. Others ran away. But then and the lady came. The moment lady came, others ran away and I was caught. She caught hold of my hand. She said, you created the whole problem. You brought all this. I didn't bring them. They are hungry. That's why they came. And then what did she do? She took me to my mother. And then complained to my mother. Said, this fellow, your son, always does like this. Always. I do only one time. Then what? Your mother spanked you? No, she doesn't spank me because she loves me. That also is there. She never spanks. But then what did she do? She said, look, you are always creating a problem. Every lady comes with complaint about you. You see, these ladies, they're happy complaining about me. That's all. They enjoy that. That's why they come. And I'm in between. I struggle. And then what did she do? She tied me to the stone and said that you are not going out to play with these kids. Okay, finish. They're all alone at home. Period. Nobody will come to you. I'll lock the door from outside and then you stay at home. My God. Radha says, this is so very bad. Young boy like you, in the evening you should be playing in the ground and you're playing with the people and all those things. And instead of that, you are tied down to the stone in the house. Yeah, you see, you will understand. My mother doesn't understand. Excuse mother. So very bad. But then what did you do? You stayed at home? No. Now he is a hero. What did you do? My mother went that way. I dragged the whole stone into the forest. I'm sitting here. And she looked at the stone. 20 people cannot lift the stone. And this one fellow dragged it on the way to the forest. My God, this big stone that you brought all the way? Yeah. Hero. I think you must have been really bruised all over. Shall I release you so that you can go back and play? No, don't do that. But you are tired, no? That's okay. You talk to me nice, no, I forgot about all that. Children can easily forget in 1 minute. But then I'll tell you, no, Why? Let my mother come home, search for me all over, not finding that, let her become panic, go around everywhere searching. Finally, let her come to the forest, see me here, and let her fall at my feet and ask her pardon. Then she can release me. Are you sure? Yeah, because I have to go, because the whole team is going, so I have to go. Yeah, you can go. I just can't leave you and go because I love you. Krishna also says to Radha, I love you too. That was the first meeting of Radha and Krishna. And Radha goes away. Years rolled, and then afterwards, what happened is there were wild animals which were forest infested. So naturally, they thought that we'll shift this whole Gokul to Vrindavan. Because let the Gokul be free with the forest and forest animals. They wanted to shift it, so that was decided. Once it was decided, the elders in the Vrindavan, they were receiving the elders from the Gokul, and the children were being received by the children. And Vrindavan, the leader of the children is Radha, and the leader for Gokul is Krishna. So therefore, Krishna goes there, and Radha receives them, the whole team. Actually, there's a nice thing that happened in between, but K. Munshi mentions it. I don't want to get into that detail. Then once they go there, then you know what, children, there are so many stories to talk about. Every stone has a story. Every part of the river has a story. In Sankranti it happened like this. In Diwali it happened like this. You know, there's so many stories. And the cow gives birth to calf, it's a story. So like that, for about 6 months, they were exchanging all these stories and all that. Radha was telling to Krishna. So they fell in love with each other. And then once they fell in love, they said, okay, let's get married. Let's announce to the parents. Though Krishna was younger than Radha by 3 years or 4 years, but then it was decided they will get married. And then Krishna wanted to go and announce that to his parents. When he was going to his parents at that time, villagers, when they started, hey Krishna, where are you going? You know, why? What for? Your dad was waiting for you. He was looking for you everywhere. And you went out without telling anything. What? I don't know why, but some guests have come from somewhere. Therefore, your dad was searching for you. Who are those guests? How do I know about these guests? You see, they know everything. But then, you know how the way they talk? How do I know about these guests? Said that they are coming from Mathura. And they came in search of you. For what? See, King Kamsa is doing some yajna. Then they wanted to invite you. That's why they, hey, please don't ask me any of these things. I don't know. You go and ask your dad. Okay, it's all right. Krishna goes to where his dad is there. And then as soon as Krishna comes, they said, okay, come in. Please, we are waiting for you. These people have come from Mathura. And one is Akrura and the other is his friend. They have come. So specially brought an invitation for you because Kamsa is doing an Ashwamedha Yaga. And for that, you are the special guest. Wonderful. Nice. So we are all going. We said, no, only you people have received. You and Balabhadra, you have received. We are not invited. You are not invited. And the others are not invited. Only we are invited. Yeah, there must be some mystery over that. That's what Akrura says. Akrura says that you are suspect to be the 8th son of Devaki. So therefore, Kamsa wanted to invite you for a Malla Yuddha and then wanted to finish. Wanted to eliminate you. If I don't go, then Kamsa is prepared to come with the whole army. Kill all the children in this particular place. When he said that, now Krishna, almost like prophetically, says that, why create a problem to everybody? Let me go. I think Kamsa's life has come to an end. I'll finish it and come back. They decided that Krishna will go along with Balrama and then they finish the job and then come back. It was decided. Next morning they were supposed to start. Now once this is decided, immediately Krishna thought that We'll talk about marriage only when I come back. Before that, it's not a right time. And he has to tell the Radha. So therefore, he rushes to a place where Radha is there. Radha is sitting on the stone, and then Krishna goes there and then says that, Radha, have you heard the news? Oh, she says, Krishna, I thought you will not come back again. You come back. Because I heard so many things. What is it you heard? You are a great guy. An extraordinary one. But what have you heard? You see, rumor spread in the villages so easily. The rumor was that, look at the way my dad is not invited, your dad is not invited. There is some special Rajaswi Yaga going on, and you're invited as chief guest. You are a great fellow man. She was taunting him. But then Krishna became serious. He said, there's nothing to taunt. He said, what do you mean by that? You know, there is a conspiracy behind it. What is that conspiracy? You know that Kamsa has a sister, that is Devaki. Yeah. And Devaki has the 8th child missing. Yes. And the 8th child is born to kill Kamsa. Now, slowly, her sense is done. Yes. The 8th child is born and he is missing. Kamsa suspect that I am the 8th child. Wow. And then she shocked to the core. My God, this is a story behind it. This is the idea behind it. Yeah, but don't worry. Kamsa is not going to give me. I'm going to kill Kamsa and then settle the issues there, then come back. You see, that's what Krishna is thinking. But Radha's mind was not thinking about that. Radha was thinking that I thought that you are a coward Krishna. For a simple, ordinary human being. But now the story shows that you are Sakyet son of Devaki. That means you are specially born to create the whole kingdom, the clan. So Krishna's image has gone up there. My God, he is now God. I'm an ordinary girl. And then Krishna is a God. That's what her anxiety. She was not worried about Krishna going to get killed. That will never happen. But then in her mind, Krishna's image goes there. But on the other hand, Krishna thinks that Kamsa is such a great king, he will kill me. That's what Radha is worried. That's why he says, Radha, you don't worry about it. I'm not going to. And he cannot even remove a hair from me. And I'm going to be there. Only thing is that it will take about 6 months to settle down. I will come back. And then I will announce about our marriage. Radha says, no. Why? This is an extraordinary thing. If it is love, it's a lust, then I want to possess it. But when it is true love, love doesn't have the possession. So Radha doesn't want to possess Krishna. Says, you're a kingmaker, you're a great person, you go. My Krishna is a very simple Krishna. He's on the covered here. And I can see my Krishna in the faces of the cows and in the rumbling of the river Yamuna. So, you go. And you're a kingmaker. No, Radha, definitely I'll come back and then. No, that's not going to happen. See, that's what is the idea. Love does not demand. Love does not want to possess. Our love would have been there. Immediately say that if you're going to be kingmaker, I'll be queenmaker. If you're going to be God, I'm going to be goddess. This is what normal people will think about it. But she never thought in that direction. In fact, on the other hand, she says, Krishna, love does not bind. Lust binds you. She doesn't want that I should become a bondage to Krishna. You're free. You can go ahead. My love doesn't bind you at all. My love is there. See, love belongs to you, not to the object outside. That's what Krishna says, Radha says that I still love you. You are extraordinary. I love you. But only thing is that I don't bind you. There is no question of binding and love. Leave it. The way that Radha says like that, first time that Krishna feels that what Radha is talking about is something which is higher than the knowledge that he knows about it. That's why he says, Radha, You seem to know much better. I think that's what prevails. I'm going. Never Krishna came back to Vrindavan. That's the last. And not only that, while going, Krishna says, I'll give you this flute as a memory. You can never see Krishna afterwards this flute with his flute. They're never there. Flute he gave it to Radha. Keep it in my memory. It goes away. It's a very important thing. The important thing is love always takes you in the upper direction. Whereas prema takes upper direction, kama brings you down. Prema takes it towards the consciousness, whereas kama takes it to the matter. And this flute, essentially a symbol of, look at the flute. It has got cheapest of the woods. And it has holes also. It's insignificant. Nothing is there. And there also you throw the exhaling air. But then the melody that you get is something which is extraordinary. That melody does not belong to the flute. It belongs to something which is of a divine nature. So that's why Krishna gives that to Radha, saying that rise above the level of material. That's what is the idea. If the moment that you allow the bhakti to love to elevate, it becomes bhakti. You allow the bhakti, love to degenerate, it becomes kama. Prema can become kama, prema can become bhakti. Every human being can become a divine. That's what I said earlier, that we are potentially divine, we have become capacity to divine, and the love that we have can make us to become divine. Not the question of that we see the divinity, we become that. It's not the experience, it's being, becoming. That's what is the idea. And that's what is significance of this. Now, what is this Radha's name? It's also very significant in the sense that normally you leave the water, it flows downwards. And that's what we call it as dhara. Dhara is when the water flows downwards. There is a water flowing in the upward direction, is what is Radha. So Radha signifies that water which is flowing in the upward direction. When can it become upward direction? Is when the water becomes a steam, then it goes in the upward direction. It has to change its characteristics. Catharsis has to happen. Love is there within us, but that love has to create that catharsis within us. Like a dance, like a music, or like something like the story has created that catharsis, that change in us. Once you listen to that, once you see that, it brings about change. Then the same thing which can flow downwards, it can go in the upward direction. And that's love is the only experience which can take us in the upward direction. And we are all born with that love. That's why Upanishad says that we are Brahman. The upward direction is something which is there. That's what signifies about this particular flute. Look at the material value of the flute. Nothing. Exhaling air that you send to that. But the melody that you get is something which is beyond all the material. The moment you come down to the material, you look at the body, you look at this, you look at that. You convert the love into all these things, then there's no more love to demand. And demand love when it goes downwards, that's what is ego. Ego is always about the material world outside. Ego is never with spirituality. You are free from it. That's why these two things are. Later on also there is one sutra which is there. Where the ego is there, and that's what is basically that the vastu rati, that means just your interest in the vastu. Whereas where the ego is not there, it is called as atmarati. That's why Narada gives us a sutra. You do anything, but then you have the atmarati. That's what Narada says, that you do any activity. That they, all these activities that you do it. Naradastu tadvati tad. No. Shandilya says, Shandilya gives the sutra. Avirodhena Atmarati Shandilya. Now this Atmarati is something which is opposite to Vasturati. Vasturati is material. I love, what do I get out of it? The moment somebody becomes closer, then I put my agenda, my demands on it. I don't care even if it is God, I put my demands on it. But whereas when there is Atmarati, it's not Vasturati. Atmarati Avirodhena. Whatever might happen, I'm only in the state of Atmarati, not in the Vasturati. That's what is the idea. Rati is a very beautiful idea, saying that you are immersed in that. The immersion is what is Rati. Immersion in what? Atmarati. Look at the way all these things show. It's not that some God somewhere around. You are that divinity. So that's what is Atmarati Avirodhena Shandilya. So these are the three saints who have given that wonderful idea. And first one is the Pujadishu Anuragayati. Kathadishu iti Gargaha. Hundreds of stories I can tell. And, but it's not that just telling the story. Don't look into the material details of the. Some people go into that unnecessary details about that. History, geography, this, that. Whereas Atmarata Virodhena Shandilya. And then Narada comes to the idea saying that Tadarpita Akilacharata, whatever that is there, why don't you do it that way? Never ask for anything, it's everything is Atmarati. So that way when you go, that's what is Narada says, Tadarpita Astyeva Meva Yatha Rajagopika. This is what is the story of Rajagopika. Because that Radha only symbolizes. But then there are all the other Gopikas, they were same like that, Radha. Nobody had any possessions of Krishna. That's why it is Atmaratyaga. Imagine that Krishna is there right in front of them, but then they practice that kind of a thing in love, where there is no possession of Krishna. If that happened with Krishna, which happened 5,000 years ago, imagine the position of Meera, which happened about 400, 500 years ago. Krishna is not there in the living, but Krishna can become living in such a way that she doesn't have any possession of him. So Radha goes one step ahead of Krishna. Meera goes far beyond Radha. That's the idea. Bhakti takes us to that level. We'll stop it here. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Can you compare differences of Dhritarashtra's love and Kaikeyi's love? What is that? What kind of both the? I know it's not love, but I don't know the exact English.
It's all love. Everything is love. There's nothing less than that. But what happens is that love is a starting point. But where we end, that's what is the idea. What is the end point that you go for? So this is where what happens in all the sadhanas, not only in the case of love. All the sadhanas, what happens is that somewhere we are going, but then we are drifted into a different direction. Unfortunately. When you are drifted into other directions, then all the scams and scandals and things and all that will happen. I can see that that kind of thing never happened. Never drifting happened in spite of the fact that there were so many things around them. But three people, as I know, one is the Nityananda Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Second is Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Third is Vivekananda. That's why they are so extraordinarily powerful. Extraordinarily. In fact, this Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, Sharda Devi, they have not come just like that. Actually, their whole mission is to elevate womanhood to that level. Women gets that kind of a honor. These people have done that. And it's unparalleled. In the history of mankind, it never there happened like that anywhere in the world. So that's what we need to look at. Maybe Next week I will talk about that.
You tell the story of Sharda Devi, is it?
Yes, Sharda Devi, Ramakrishna Paramhansa, and Vivekananda. You see, Vivekananda is not a saint who went to America and then spoke about. There are so many saints who went to America and spoke, but it's not like that. Something more, much more than that. What Vivekananda has done. Talk about that, and it has come. The roots always go to Ramakrishna Paramhansa, Sharda Devi. Without which, that's why Vivekananda says that there is nothing in me which is working. It's all that old man. He is doing it. That's why what happens is that these characters that we have, we need to understand them with a positive mind to see that how much contribution that they have done. Extraordinary contribution. In the given conditions at that time that were there, it's not an ordinary thing. In that conditions, what they have done, it is something which humanly not possible for us to imagine. Whether it is Sharda Devi, whether it is Ramakrishna Paramhansa or Vivekananda. Humanly, you can't think of it. That's what it is. To elevate the women value.
Check to the Zoom you bring in as a.
If anyone has a question, please post, or I will just make. I can unmute, you can unmute yourself, please. If anyone has a question? Okay.